Hey Kins, it's the Kind Kitten here. Hello! And after a whole 5 minutes, I managed to create an entire unique nether biome. But in fairness, I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get this video out. I got very distracted, and unlike the other two custom Piglin villages or slash custom nether biomes I did, I ended up streaming a lot of this in Discord, so I ended up getting carried away, and that's why it's taken me so much longer to release this than the other videos. But if you don't know what the normal biome looks like, it looks a little bit like this. But I thought it'd be really interesting to make a custom Piglin village in the Nether, and I've done that. If you've seen my, well, if not, then you need to go back and check them out. My other two custom Nether biomes, which I did for the Warped Forest and the Basalt Delta Forest. So again, to know about the ideas, I suggested them properly, and if you want the ideas in those ones explained, it's best to go back to those videos. But essentially, the Warped Forest piglins were not interested in fighting for the most part, so they're not very well defended. The Basalt Delta Piglin Village has, really strong fortress-like walls, and in contrast, this one is more focused on taking the fight to other creatures, in other words, attacking. So between the three, you've kind of got a mixture of attack, defense, and not caring in terms of the Warped Forest one. But I'll show you what I've done with this one. And again, if you watch those videos, it will make much more sense. So you've got like entrance fires. I just wanted to make sort of like a little custom fire outside the thing. And I thought also, I was using pre-established lore that as lots of the piglins have the crossbow, that perhaps they could take inspiration from weapons on the overworld, and the nearest weapon to the crossbow was a ballista. And also, I don't know if ballistas are medieval or not, but I mean, it's Minecraft. There's a bit of a stretching of imagination in it anyway. Especially with things like, potions and magic and that. Well, maybe not the potions, but like enchanting with magic. So with any piece of art, it's like, what's the term? Artistic liberties were taken. So these ones are very violent against hoglins, and thus they kill them, use the hide to make their tents, but also if there was an item called hoglin tusks, they would be sticking out of the tents because they try and scare their enemies away by, I guess, demonstrating their bravery, and they stick the quote-unquote hoglin tusks on the side of the tents also to show off. They also have a treasure trove similar to the Nether Doubters. They obviously piglins like gold, and they tend to store it in one area. And you also have on this one these winding pathways which you can take up to the treetops, and there is a pathway that goes, it's very precarious, but it does go all of the way across and up to that point as well. And you can see some wild nether creatures or custom nether mobs, such as the this is how you can tell it's been a while, because I've forgotten I've almost forgotten what the creature is called. The Nethermites. And if you ever saw any of my episodes of the Hypixel creative build server from ages ago, I built like a huge 3D nethermite, sorry, erupting from the ground, and this is more what it would look like in Minecraft. And you can also see I've got these custom fire flowers that I've made. That's a mini one. And I have, well, this is what they would more accurately look like over here. And you can see same on the whole, but there are slight variations. And the inspiration for this was imagining if you strike a match and you've got effectively curvy but a lit match in the middle, and then fire-esque petals around the edge, which you can see I've done in flame-like colours, red, orange and yellow. And if the other tunnelmite is buried into the wall, and this is what they would look like, and mostly accurately the size they would be if they come out of the wall. So for the tunnelmites, and I don't think I explained in the other videos, if they very slowly eat their way, you can see I've done a mock-up tunnel, they eat their way through netherrack and leave a trail, and it would be on all around the tunnel of, you've got to imagine this is something called smooth netherrack, and this is the, well, one of the ways to get smooth netherrack. You can either get netherrack and chuck it in a furnace and then it will create it, or you can just, I don't know how effective it would be, but you could almost create a smooth netherrack farm if you could get enough netherrack and put some of these around. So these move super slowly and can only eat through netherrack and and smooth netherrack. So if you had anything else and even did something like this when putting it behind you, it could not go through that block and would turn another direction. Although if you imagine it takes a path and you've blocked it with this, it could still go around and then go back and eat you from that direction. But they're not hostile to players even if attacked, they're actually peaceful. The only reason it might do that is if by random chance the path tracking went around you and went into you. So they're not actually hostile, and they have a lot of health, but you can still kill them without retaliation. And also when they break through when they dig through the ground, there's like really loud munching sounds. So the only way you could possibly get sneaked up on one, as they also move pretty slowly, is if you were looking around like this and had your sounds turned off and they burst through the wall behind you. However, it's not all bad if they do eat you. You will instantly die, but if you get back to them and attack them from the side and kill them, you can get all your items back. However, they will be more damaged. So if you had, for example, a high level durability sword, then it might be on medium durability. And likewise, if you had a low durability sword and it took a certain amount of durability, that item might be destroyed. So it's a bit like I thought that was a fair trade-off, considering it can effectively just like eat you in one go, and also it would be your fault if you were facing this way, not paying attention, and had sounds off. But then I thought it's a fair trade-off, because if it does eat you, as long as your items are high enough in terms of durability, you won't lose them, because no other creatures in the Nether will attack these either, including piglins and hoglins. So effectively you've got as long as you can get back, you've got a guarantee that you will get some, if not all, of your things back. And also I've done other custom things, like you can see in the warped forest, the trees look like candles going up, and they've been inverted on this one. You've got almost like an upside down flame shape, also because weeping vines, they hang down, which is why some of the trees are hanging so far down they go all the way through the ground. You've got the chains attaching the islands, but they've also made a bridge because I don't think parkour on chains to get to the next part of the island is very feasible. As I've said before, they've got a little walkway along here, and also had some nice ideas from the Puka. If I mentioned someone called Jeff, that's the Puka. Talented animator, and you should go check him out. It's, by the way, if you do check him out, it's ThePooka. But he said something like, "Oh, why don't you have some of the rods going through the actual, I guess, support itself?" And I thought that seemed like a really good idea. And you can see I've put these custom mushrooms, because you get mushrooms in the Nether. I've made full-size mushrooms, which is also good because it got me into doing organics a little bit. I also had these for poisonous mushrooms. Maybe they could be like a poison biome in the Nether. Poisonous mushrooms with like toxic fumes coming out. And you can see that although most of the thing is a bit ramshackle, they've focused more of their attention on where they will wheel out the weapons, such as the ballista. And the tunnels that they used to do that are, for the Nether, a bit more done up and, well, compared to everything else, fancy. So you can see like this tunnel that they parade their weapons through is a bit more fancy than anything else. And this is their portal to the overworld, and you can see that the overworld itself is leaking through, and on top of that you can see that the overworld, I guess overworld magic or effect, is also influencing the growth, because the normal trees grow in the upside down, it's sort of like an upside down raindrop shape. However, the ones near the portal mimic the ones of the overworld in that they actually look a bit more like normal, well, a bit more like overworld trees. They're not the strange, almost alien shape of the ones in the Nether. And you can also see I've done a little bit of customization. You've got glowstone spikes sticking from the ceiling. And also, you can see that, if I can find it, they're also preparing sort of ropes to stick the piglins, sorry, not piglins, hoglins, upside down to roast them on an empty spit. So these are really aggressive to everyone, including the hoglins themselves. As I said, no matter which piglin village you choose in my version of the Nether, the hoglins aren't going to have a very good time. And the last thing I will very quickly mention is runestones. And I don't know if I mentioned these in any of the other videos, but you'll have to imagine that this is obsidian with red glowing symbols on to symbolize runes. So the way a runestone works is if you go near it, it will, I'll quickly put that away. And I'll get out a sword. So if you go to the default enchant section, it has enchants in, I don't know what you would call that, a browny, I guess greyish writing, and you can select from them. However, both the nether and the end, there would be things that spawn called runestones, and if you went up to one of the runestones and clicked on it with like the right mouse, it would say new enchant added. And if you hunted through the enchants for long enough, you would see that there would be a new one with red writing, and these would be I guess it'd be a bit misleading to call them nether or end specific, but that you would only get them by they would only enter the loot table of enchants if you found them in the nether or end, such as, and it's not exactly an inventive name, I'm just throwing out ideas here, maybe the Magmortis enchant, which almost is a bit like a flame body effect. If players hit you, there's a percentage chance that they will be set on fire, and you could tell it had been added because obviously you'd see a red enchant after going through this a few times, and it would say Magmortis 1, and likewise you could find similar things in the end as well, and obviously they would be quite rare. They might spawn anywhere, not just in villages, but obviously for a demonstration purpose I thought I'm just going to make one. And the one in the end would have obsidian with glowing purple, with pieces that are effectively pieces of obsidian with glowing purple symbols, and I didn't know what to make them. I thought I could make them the same, but why would I do that? And perhaps they might look a little bit like this. So just so they'd be a bit more distinctive in the end. I didn't want everyone looking just like a nether portal. But the other thing is, people might be like, oh, well, that's fine, but what about if I just want to start a world and have all the nether or end specific enchants already added to the default pool of enchants, in which case you could just, there would be an option somewhere where you could just turn that on by default. So if you didn't want to go through all the hassle of exploring the nether or exploring the end, you could just go somewhere into perhaps the options menu, and then it would have, you know, something like turn on all enchants, like full enchant pool by default, and you'd have it, you could turn it on or off. But I thought this might also be a nice way to incentivize exploring a little bit more in the nether and just give another reason for doing that. But anyway, this is the kind kitten, and yeah, this took me, I joked like 5 minutes, but this has taken me a long time, as you can probably tell by how long it's taken me to get the video out. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked my ideas, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the build. And this is the kind kitten, and I'll see you all next time.